Well, as the elections draw closer in Namibia, SWAPO says it is confident that the people of Namibia will give the party another mandate to govern. SWAPO is facing a stiff challenge from opposition in that country. Many have criticized the governing party in Namibia for failing to address challenges facing ordinary people. SABC News International editor Sophie Mokoena spoke to SWAPO's Elders Council Secretary.
The manifesto for this election aim to address critical issues facing the nation. The theme for this election, which will guide us over the next 5 years, is natural resources beneficiation, youth empowerment for sustainable development. And the emphasis on mineral beneficiation is based on the fact that our economy has not grown at the level where it was supposed to have grown, have we added value to our products. And therefore, the idea is you grow the economy and you take advantage of your competitive advantage, which is your natural resources, and you need to beneficiate that. And then the next issue is youth, and we believe that youth is the future of this country. We have a serious problem with youth unemployment that needs to be addressed urgently. We have outlined programs, exactly what we are going to do, and we budgeted for those various programs to make sure that our people, or the young people, get jobs. And then, of course, the issue of sustainable development. So it deals with a whole host of issues from political, social, and economic.
Now, when we look at your manifesto...
Yes, go ahead.
I'm saying when you look at your manifesto, you're talking about growing the economy. For 30 years, SWAPO has been in power. People would argue that you didn't do enough to address those issues, including the current challenge of young people. How do you respond to your critics that as a liberation organization, you attained freedom and you didn't do much to change the lives of ordinary Namibians?
I totally disagree with that notion. I was born in this country, grew up in this country, and was here in 1990 when the country got independent, and I'm here now, 2024. It is a totally different Namibia from the one we found here, in every respect, whether it's education, health, infrastructure development. And on the economic front, we've had years of positive growth of up to 6%. We admit that that was not enough, but we have had continued growth until we are hit by the economic crisis and until we hit by COVID. And again, we are on the process of recovery. There are today less poor people than they were. The index of poverty has come down. There are poor people, but there are also others. The life standard of living has improved for the majority of the people of our country. And to talk about majority, then somebody doesn't know statistics.
The other issue is the issue of resources. When the former liberation organization is in power, the abuse of resources. Your critics are also pointing out that the levels of corruption has resulted or have resulted in a situation where you don't have resources to address these issues. How do you respond to the critics that the corruption has derailed the process to change the lives of the Namibians?
Again, those are people who talk without doing research. In fact, the rating of Namibia in terms of corruption, I'm not saying there's no corruption. We are rated much better than a lot of other African countries. So these people are talking because They don't know what's going on around them, and they don't read statistics. They give opinions that are not based on facts. Now, that does not mean that we cannot talk about corruption. That's why we have ministers who are in prison, is because of corruption and other incidences. But the extent of corruption has not affected the growth of the economy. Even though we've had the fish rot and what has happened, that a lot of people lost their jobs because of reallocation of resources. But that is it may. If you look around in terms of incidents of any one corrupt act is one too many, I agree. And that's why we have the president, the candidate we have chosen, is free of corruption. She has a track record of fighting corruption, and she is going to outrage corruption out of this country. And some of those opposition members who are talking about corruption, sorry, we don't need to go there. They have their own cases of corruption. Their parties are not well governed. And so I don't want this to be a dialogue between me and the other parties. That, I want to put the SWAPO message across.
Let's look at the issue of the economy also. How do you hope to grow the economy? You spoke about looking at the minerals, but in terms of other sectors, how do you hope to grow the economy?
Well, I think our economy has great potential. There are emerging sectors of the economy. There are renewable energy, oil and gas. These are all important sectors that are just coming on stream. But agriculture to us, it's a very important sector. And not sufficient has been invested in agriculture. And that's why in this manifesto, we pledge to make substantial investment in agriculture. And we also realize that there is a need for the transformation of agriculture from the usual small scale to a more large scale operations. So agriculture is definitely an area of potential. Renewable energy is an area of potential. And of course, minerals, and in particular, beneficiation. We need some strategies back. What impact beneficiation will make to the economy? And it will have immediate impact if you just add value to your products without even new investments. Just current investment, add value. Of course, the value addition will involve investment also. But that in itself will be sufficient to turn the economy around and to have a higher rate of growth.
As we round off this interview, and we will engage in the coming days as we look towards these important elections, people often say you have promises, you have manifesto, but when you get into power, then ordinary people get disappointed. How are you going to ensure that this time around, SWAPO does deliver?
Well, I just don't agree with your question, because SWAPO has been delivering for the last 34 years.
In terms of your promises now, I'm saying you've presented a manifesto. How are you going to ensure that you meet the deadlines and the targets in the manifesto in relation to delivery?
Yes. Now, first of all, I think if you follow the history of our country, and each president, it has been work in progress. And our late president did a lot in terms of strengthening institutions, and strong institutions are key to delivery. A rule-based system is also key to delivery. So we have the environment, and now all we need is the resources, and the resources are there. And so we have a person at the helm of the party who has a track record of delivering, making a difference to the lives of the people in every ministry we have been to. And therefore, we are very confident that the next 5 years will be different because people talk about change. Change is the only permanent phenomenon. And we as a party, we are changing, we are revitalizing the party, and we are going every year, next year will be better than this year, and the year after will be better than the other year. And that's what the perception of liberation movements are different. And therefore we are SWAPO. And SWAPO, we have delivered. To say that we have not delivered when people have not been to this country before and now. We are the best governed country among the best governed countries in Africa. And this is because of SWAPO government. Now, people who have never even run football clubs, want to become head of state. It's not on. The people of Namibia will not allow that. And therefore, SWAPO has won this election before it even started because of the popular support that the party is still enjoying after 34 years in power.
You say that people have already given SWAPO a mandate. SWAPO has won even before elections. If you were to lose, will you accept the results?
Well, we are Democrats. In the unlikely event of SWAPO losing, obviously we will accept the results. And we will continue to do what we are doing. We are mass movement. We are in the villages. We have structures there, and these structures will continue to support communities to improve their livelihoods, even if you're not in state house. But I don't see the likelihood of that happening.